What is up, guys? Happy Friday. Thanks for hanging out with me in this episode of the Fantasy Fellowship. We're going to be going over the Friday practice reports and basically just letting you guys know what we know going into the weekend and who's in, who's out, who's game time decision. I'm just reading through kind of underdogs, news and notes here. But they're saying Michael Mayer, the Raiders' number 2 tight end, is placed on the NFI list. So I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but he's out. So Brock Bowers, you're continuing to use him. Michael Pittman Jr. was kind of the weird one today. He has decided to try to play. The Colts considered placing him on IR. He did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, full practice on Friday, though. So that's very bizarre. And while I'm here on the Colts, I will say Josh Downs did not practice Wednesday or Thursday, full practice Friday. He's on track to play. So this really throws a wrench in things as far as which receivers to start. Because I think with Anthony Richardson now, with Michael Pittman back in the mix, you're looking at the top 4 receivers all kind of rotating, and maybe there's re-injury risk for Michael Pittman Jr. I'm kind of unsure I want to start any Colts receiver. If I had to choose one, it's maybe Downs, but Pierce has been playing well. You also have Jonathan Taylor ruled out for the running back room. Trey Sermon updated. He was full today and yesterday, removed from the injury report. So he's fine. I think Wednesday was just a day rest for him as they're getting him ready for a workload. So Trey Sermon starting running back. I think he's a running back too. Colts receivers, we shall see. Rachaad White officially listed as doubtful for this weekend. That one, we kind of had the writing on the wall. He has not practiced. He practiced limited Wednesday, did not practice today or yesterday. He's trending towards doubtful. So if you guys do have Bucky Irving, it looks like he's going to be a good play this weekend against the Saints. Not a great matchup, but the volume should be there to get maybe 15 plus touches. And Bucky's not on the injury report with that hamstring, so I do like that for Bucky Irving. Good news for Alvin Kamara and Rashid Shaheed. They're not listed on the injury report. I think the week was weird for them because they played on Monday night, and they just, needed a couple extra days rest and were limited and things like that. Taysom Hill is listed out, though, for the New Orleans Saints, so I'm not super excited about the Saints playing Spencer Rattler. We'll see. Maybe Rattler provides a spark for the offense here as they've been kind of reeling the last few weeks. I am watching for not Alvin Kamara, but Kendre Miller. He's been full practice all week. Interested to see if they're going to call him up for this one. Commanders, Noah Brown, not listed on the injury report. We're not really caring about that. Dameon Pierce, not listed on the injury report. That one's interesting. We'll get to it later, but Texans running back Joe Mixon looks like he's going to play. So we'll talk about I guess we can talk about the Texans running backs now. Joe Mixon trending towards playing. He did not practice on Wednesday, limited the last 2 days. He did get a limited practice in a couple weeks ago. I think the ankle flared up. They let it heal, and now he's practicing in full, and it says he's probably going to play. So as far as playing Texans backs, I think, with Mixon, Ogunbowale, Pierce, and Akers all trending towards playing in this one. Maybe one of those guys isn't active for this week. I think you start Joe Mixon if you have him, and then I probably leave the other guys there. If no Joe Mixon, though, I think Daryl Ogunbowale is probably the running back. I don't know. It's a weird situation. I'm not super excited about the Texans running game if it's not Joe Mixon. Russell Wilson, not on the injury report. He's going to be active for this weekend. I don't think he's going to play, but if Justin Fields doesn't look good, we might see Russell Wilson starting soon. Rashad Bateman, not on the injury report. That's good news there. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, both active for this weekend here. They're not on the injury report. They're both going to play. Fire them up. We have Christian Watson labeled as questionable going into this one, and which is a pretty good development because we had assumed that he was maybe going to be put on IR or this was a severe high ankle sprain. Turns out it's not. He was limited all week in practice. He has a chance to play. So we'll watch for that one. As far as the Packers receivers, I'm starting Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft, man. Like those are the 2 guys here. The Packer reports also listed Tucker Kraft as limited the last 2 days, but not sure if I want to play Romeo, Dontavian Wicks, or Christian Watson. Maybe we let that shake itself out. We have Anthony Richardson on track to play. I should have mentioned that when I talked about the Colts earlier. The New England Patriots have ruled out Ramondre Stevenson. So you're going to see Antonio Gibson get the bulk of the snaps, the routes, and the work here. He is their clear number 2 back. They also have JaMycal Hasty as the number. He'll be Antonio Gibson's backup. I'm not sure who the 3rd running back will be up on the roster on Sunday here, but I think you can use Antonio Gibson as a low-end RB2. JaMycal Hasty is a desperation flex play at best. We did get an update on Christian McCaffrey for the first time in a while here. The 49ers will not activate Christian McCaffrey this week from the IR, so he's probably going to miss week 7. I'm still hopeful that he has a chance to play week 8. They do have a bye week 9, though, so week 10, I think, is the best case scenario. Maybe it makes sense to get him out there week 8 and then let him heal for a week before ramping him back up. We'll see what they decide to do. We also got a good note here on Jordan Mason from last night's game. He's diagnosed with just a sprained AC joint, considered day-to-day, very mild. He should be fine for week 7 with a few extra days. Jakobi Meyers and Zamir White both practiced on Friday. I'm seeing those guys listed as truly like game time decision questionables. Let's see. Both of them did not practice on Wednesday and Thursday. So that's kind of interesting. We'll see what happens there. I would expect Jakobi Meyers to be interesting as like a wide receiver 3 flex. I don't care about Zamir White in my fantasy lineup. Again, Joe Mixon expected to play. Romeo Doubs will play for the Packers. We covered Rashad White. Josh Reynolds is going to miss for the Broncos. Devin Singletary. Let's talk about the New York Giants real quick here. Devin Singletary is listed as questionable. He limited practice all week. I think he's trending towards playing here. And I really like Tyrone Tracy, man. I think he has a chance to be the lead back for this team at some point here. So even if Singletary's out there and he's not 100%, maybe we see more of a 50-50 committee this weekend. I'm not quite sure how it'll break down. I don't feel great about starting Singletary. I think he's a low-end RB2 flex play at best. We also have Malik Neighbors ruled out already, did not practice all week here. He actually was downgraded with his concussion protocols this week. So week 7, I'm going to say he's questionable for next weekend. I do think you could pull up Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton. And if you need a deep RB2 flex play, I think Tyrone Tracy is interesting because he looked good last week. Mike Gesicki for the Bengals is not listed on the injury report. He will play. We have 2 Jags here, Evan Ingram and Gabe Davis, listed as questionable for the London game on Sunday morning. They practiced limited all week here. I think both are on track to play. They just had to note them there. Will Levis is expected to start week 6, so take that for what it's worth. The Browns ruled out Nick Chubb, which is kind of what we expected. I don't think we're going to see Nick Chubb week 7 quite yet, but there's a chance. He's been limited in every practice this week, which is a good sign. Usually, and this is how I kind of read reports here. When you have a player coming back from an injury, an injury where he misses, several weeks, you want him to practice for a full week, miss that game, and then the next week you want him to make sure he can practice again at another at least limited practice for the full week. So Nick Chubb trending towards playing. He's probably going to be questionable for week 7, I would bet. But I think week 8 is probably the more likely scenario. While I'm here on the Cleveland Browns, it looks like they're in good health here. Amari Cooper's fine. Deonta Foreman looks fine. David Njoku says he will play. He didn't practice on Wednesday, but limited Thursday, Friday, he says he will play. Jaylen Warren, let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers running backs here. Mike Tomlin's kind of a weird guy sometimes. He basically said Jaylen Warren was doubtful for this week. That was early on Tuesday or Wednesday. And now we see Jaylen Warren full practice on Friday. I think he's playing. I think he's been held out for long enough. I think we're going to see Jaylen Warren come back and put a little dent into Najee Harris. We do have Cordero Patterson ruled out with that ankle injury. So if Jaylen Warren does play, I think you could maybe put him out there as a running back 2 flex if you need to. And honestly, if you guys watch my stuff, you guys know I'm not a big Najee Harris fan. I just don't think he's very good. And he's had literally every opportunity fall his way to start the year, and he has not been a really good fantasy player. So I think once we get Jaylen Warren and then Cordero Patterson back, we're probably not using Najee Harris. So if you have Najee, I'm trying to sell him. I would sell him for basically an RB2 or a wide receiver 3 right now. I think if I can get anything for him, I will. Buffalo Bills have some weird stuff going on here. Their offense looks pretty gimpy going into Monday night. We have James Cook not practicing Thursday or Friday. And they play Monday night. So Friday is today. Today is their Thursday in terms of their schedule. So James Cook back-to-back DNPs. I look at Thursday as like a big indicator if a player is going to play or not. And that today would be their Thursday, and I don't think James Cook is going to play. I also don't think Khalil Shakir is going to play. I would be surprised if maybe these guys get limited in tomorrow and they're on the track, but I think they're probably best served sitting out and then having a short week to recover. These guys probably aren't playing. So if you have James Cook, I would make sure you have contingency plans, whether it's Trey Sermon, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Antonio Gibson, Jalen Warren. There's a lot of guys here that could help you out this week. Roschon Johnson's another one. So the Bills looking pretty limpy going into Monday Night Football. I do think Matt Collins and Curtis Samuel, they were on injury report, but they're expected to play. But I'm expecting no James Cook, no Khalil Shakir. Xavier Legette not listed on the injury report, but Deontay Johnson remains questionable on the injury report here. He's been limited Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. He's got an ankle thing. I don't know if that's serious or not, but I'm expecting him to play. They do list him as questionable. We have Zach Moss he was limited all week. He's playing with a foot injury that says he will play. Washington Commanders, we have to keep an eye on Brian Robinson Jr., who was the thumbnail poster boy for this video. He did not practice Thursday or Friday, which is not good. I don't think he's going to play. Usually when, again, you see Thursday, Friday's DNPs, that should mean you're out, but they're giving him a chance to play. Maybe that's just, to keep the other team looking at him as he's going to play. But if Brian Robinson can't go, I think Austin Eckler is a must start. And then I think Jeremy McNichols has looked pretty good the last 2 weeks. I think Jeremy McNichols is one of those guys worth holding on to because he's shown that when Eckler is out, he can be a running back 2 flex. And last week we saw Brian Robinson Jr. not play a lot, and McNichols again looked good. I think McNichols is worth holding on to in deeper formats right now. Otherwise, the rest of the passing offense looks fine there. I think we're pretty much caught up on everything. So now I'm looking at notes from last night's game. So I think that'll do it for the week 6 practice report. If you guys are interested, I will be hanging out Sunday morning live at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. We'll pop in and look at the Jacksonville Chicago Bears game, and then we'll kind of go over all the actives and let you guys know what's going on before the game start on Sunday. So if you want to hang out, again, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Otherwise, I'm posting player prop video tomorrow morning. I'll go over my favorite props for the weekend, 10 plays that I put together there on the fantasyfellowship.com. And hey, if you guys are still here and you guys are not a member of the Fantasy Fellowship members tab, that's where I got all my weekly rankings, all of my start sit charts, all my post-game notes, the waiver wire report, and a handful of other useful tools. If you guys are interested, it's only $8 a month. Full season, a full year is only $50, which is a pretty good deal. So check that out, support us. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good Friday night. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.